We all know the power of social media. In this video, I'm creating a wind tunnel for a very special Porsche SUPERCAR. I will then post it on my social media. Will the time spent on this animation be worthwhile? Let's find out. G'day guys, welcome back to the channel. I have been more and more active on social media like TikTok and Instagram with short animation content. I absolutely love doing it, like a routine exercise where I just pick a car, make a simple background and environment and then animate it. Without a clear idea or direction, I just do stuff as it comes in my brain. But sometimes I have an idea that grows in my brain and I can't get rid of it until I have done it. Well, that's exactly what happened for this project. My brain told me that it would be so cool to design a wind tunnel in a rather dark environment and then put a sexy car at its center. And then make a full animation with sound design and music production. But what's a wind tunnel, you may ask? Let me explain. A wind tunnel consists of a large tube where air is forced through at controlled speed. A model or full-scale object is placed inside and the way air flows around is studied using sensors, smoke and other visualization techniques. It's often used in aerodynamic researches for aircraft, cars and especially Formula 1. Now, in order to be successful, this animation will have to be short, otherwise the audience will just swipe away and this isn't good for the algorithm. So I'll have to do something interesting, catchy, but quick. Let's build a wind tunnel. And we start by modeling our tunnel with simple geometries and shapes. I want to give this an industrial and high-tech feels, but not a sci-fi vibe. We want to stay in a real world. Then I added a sci-fi corridor just to keep the floor as I thought it would be a perfect fit. I'll change the texture later to make it more industrial. Next, I model some small fences to go all around and put some lights down, but I actually changed them later so we can skip it for now. Time to bring our cheeky jet engine that will act as our wind turbine for our project. The model was really well detailed and very complex, so I removed some parts to make it more suitable for our scene. Next, I added an emission light behind the turbine to give some depth to the scene. Then I added some small light on the floor, the same way that you will see some on a landing strip. With everything coming nicely together, it's time to bring our sexy supercar. And I have chosen for this project the beautiful Porsche 918 Spider. After some digging on Sketchfab, I found this model from their cars that looked just perfect. With the scene almost completed, I can now start with texturing. I have used the add-on extension Blender Kit for the whole project. Blender Kit is a very powerful tool with tens of thousands of models and texture available directly into your workstation. I'll drop a link in the description if you want to check it out. I'm fixing and adding details as I go to make sure everything is blending nicely together. Now it's time to look after our sexy supercar. I went over the model and started to give it life. I turned on the headlight and the rear light, which are so sexy. and then I isolated the rear wing elements as I'm planning on animating it. Now it's time to pick the color for this beast, and I'm sure a lot of you are gonna fight me over this, but it doesn't matter. I went with a chameleon blue pearl. A chameleon color is a special type of automotive paint that changes color depending on the viewing angle, lighting and sometimes temperature. I think the white, blue and purple gradient look very cheeky and I love it. Now that the big picture is set, I'm going around and polishing details, adding light and volume to simulate fog or mist effect. Finally, I'm isolating all the moving parts that I'm planning on animating, and we are done with modeling. For the music production, I first went with an EDM vibe with intense and dark basses sound, but then I changed my mind, as lately I have been doing the same thing over and over again. I absolutely love the dark and mysterious atmosphere matched by a solid and powerful bass sound. But for this project, I thought it would be good to contrast this dark scene with a slow, soothing and warm production. Oh yeah, when recording the music production, I have forgot to record the sound out of the laptop, so we'll go over everything quickly and then we'll listen to everything at the end.
Well done.
So I went on Splice and found this sample. Then I grabbed a piano and wrote the same chord progression to use it for a quick intro and to support the main melody. I tried to add a counter melody on top of it, but it was getting a bit messy, so I kept everything rather simple. Then for the drums, I went with a progressive house type beat, so I have put a kick at every bar and a snare between every other bar. For some reason, I could hear some drum and bass hi-hats, as opposed to the classic. So I grabbed the loop and add a shaker as well. Then I added a bass line following the roots note of our main melody. I felt like we were missing something, like a little ear candy, so I grabbed an old vocal chop that I had made years ago, which happened to be in the same key as our track. And I placed a couple of chops after each chord progressions. And finally, I have imported a couple of effect sound, an engine sample to simulate the turbine spinning, and the sound of the rear wing of the car coming out that I found online. So here is what we have so far. The drums, the bass, the melodies, the vocal chops, and the effects. Now I'm not going to export it just yet, as I'm sure I will have to adjust a few things to synchronize the effect and the pace of the animation. Since we are just doing 15 seconds, we can now jump on animating. Animating is so exciting, because it's when you get to bring your work to life. I have set each shot to be 3 seconds long, so it gives me flexibility during editing. I started by turning all the light off and slowly animate them to light up the scene as we go. Then animated the turbine and the rear wing of the car. The scene was a bit too bright for my liking, so I turned down the intensity and parented a small light to each camera to focus on the car. Then it's just a matter of fine-tuning and getting everything to make sense. When this is done, I just exported the animation as a viewport display and went back into Ableton to finesse those details and synchronized everything perfectly. Once happy with the final result, I could just render the animation and export the sound, and we are done. Now, editing was rather simple, as most of it has been done in Ableton for a change. I just had to stick the audio and video together. When I first wrote this video, I was planning on not revealing the final result to push you to go and watch it on YouTube Short, TikTok and Instagram. Why? But then I realized it won't be fair to you guys who have watched this video until the end. But please do me a solid, go and watch it on my short content and give me a like to boost the algorithm and motivate me to make more content. Also, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Now, without further ado, let's see the final result. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm SOLAZ, this is my world, and I see you in the next one.